All right, welcome to Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is your last chapter that we directly are really talking about in teaching trig. So we start off, have that collaboration station. In 6.1, 6.2, we talk about law of sines and law of cosines, which should entirely be a review topic. So they maybe can move pretty quick if you learned them in honors geometry. And then we have vectors, dot product of the complex plane, and trig forms of complex numbers. So we're getting into this new topic of vectors, which for some of you might be familiar, for some of you might be totally new, which just changes the amount of work that you might have to do within that section. You'll notice that your self-check is cut off a little bit early, sort of right in that chapter. So that means we're only going to really be looking at these three sections when we assess that self-check. And then Chapter 6 quiz at the end. One sort of unique thing with this one is, this is the last chapter of our semester. So when you're done with this Chapter 6 quiz, what I'm going to do is grade that, give it back to you just like usual. And then you're going to have to schedule taking that semester exam. So you could see here within our main folder, after that Chapter 6, you have the semester 1 exam that you're going to have to take. So I'm not going to give you access to that exam. That's something that your proctor is going to have. But you're going to have to schedule a time with them. You want to wait until I give that Chapter 6 quiz back, just because you might want some of that feedback from Chapter 6 before walking into that exam. And then as soon as you're done with that exam, your proctor is the one who's going to submit that to me. Remember, with that exam, it is open book, open calculator. You do have to take it in one sitting and should take you roughly an hour. It's usually about like 20, 25 questions, somewhere in that frame. But when we think about like these Chapter 1 through 6, we focused essentially on rational functions and polynomials, exponentials and logarithms, and then just a whole lot of trig and a little bit of vectors. I'll let you know that the semester 1 exam, you have some rigorous questions that are within there. So the way that it's really framed is that like those self-checks are really foundational questions, seeing how you're going while you're going. That quiz is, a little bit more of the medium style question. And then your semester exam might have a mix of medium and hard questions. But things that you should know and should have mastered throughout the time within this content. And again, it is open book, open note. So if there's something that you need to go back and look at, if there's a formula that you forgot, you can always, go back and get that. You're not necessarily expected to just memorize a formula. It's more about, can you apply it and do you know when to apply it? If you have any questions before walking into that semester 1 exam, make sure to email me. If they're content specific, you could always put them in that collaboration station. But otherwise, you could send me an email, send me a message in Schoology before walking into that exam so that we can make sure that you're going to walk in as prepared as possible.